What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Sunday, October 4th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, NBA Finals. Let's take a look at this NBA showdown between the LA Lakers and the Miami Heat. So Bam Adebayo and Goran Dragic most likely are going to be out for this game. So that's going to open up some value that we're going to get into later. But let's start at the studs on this slate. I like Anthony Davis from the LA Lakers. He's averaging 50.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 34 minutes per game with a 29% usage rate. He scored 50, 60, and 46 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing an average of 39, 38, and 34 minutes. He's going to be around 97% owned here, and he's projected at 54.2 fantasy points here tonight. He's 15,000 FanDuel salary. Vegas thinks there's going to be 220 points scored in this game, so I like Anthony Davis here versus the Miami Heat. The next stud on the slate, we have LeBron James from the LA Lakers, who's averaging 51.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 35 minutes per game with a 32% usage rate. He scored 63, 55, and 73 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 39, 36, and 40 minutes. He's going to be about 100% owned here, projected at 56 fantasy points here tonight. He's 16,000 FanDuel salary, so I like LeBron James here versus the Miami Heat. And the final stud on the slate is Jimmy Butler from the Miami Heat, averaging 41.8 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 34 minutes per game with a 25% usage rate. He scored 54, 37, and 38 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 44, 33, and 39 minutes. He's going to be about 82% owned here, projected at 47 fantasy points here tonight. He's 13,500 FanDuel salary. So I like Jimmy Butler here versus the LA Lakers. Okay guys, if Bam Adebayo doesn't play this game, it doesn't look like he's going to play here in game 3. So if he sits out, Kelly Olynyk is going to get a bunch more minutes. So I like Kelly Olynyk from the Miami Heat, who's averaged 18.2 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 19 minutes per game with an 18% usage rate. But take a look at last game with Bam Adebayo out. He played 37 minutes, scored 36 fantasy points, and had a 28% usage rate. He's going to be about 24% owned. I think that ownership is going to jump up here. I'm waiting for an ownership update, but I think he's going to be more towards 50, 60% owned because he's only 8,000 FanDuel salary. So 8,000 FanDuel salary. I'm going to have him in all my lineups. 36 fantasy points in 37 minutes. Myers Leonard did get the start, but only played about 9 minutes, put up 8 fantasy points. So Kelly Olynyk played the majority of the game, and he played well. So I'm guessing that he's going to get that same opportunity here tonight. We'll see what happens though. But I like Kelly Olynyk, who's projected at 24.5 fantasy points here tonight versus the LA Lakers. Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. And then I like Tyler Hero from the Miami Heat. He was averaging 22.5 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 27 minutes per game with a 23% usage rate. He's going to get more minutes because of the injury to Goran Dragic. He played 42 minutes last game. He put up 28 fantasy points. He's going to be about 12% owned, but I expect that ownership to come up as well. Although he is priced up on FanDuel, but now his minutes match his price. He's projected at 32 fantasy points here tonight, and he's 11,000 FanDuel salary. So I like Tyler Hero here versus the LA Lakers. And then I like Jay Crowder from the Miami Heat. He's averaged 24.7 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 29 minutes per game with a 16% usage rate. He played 28 minutes last game, put up 23 fantasy points. He's going to be about 22% owned here, and he's projected at 25.5 fantasy points here tonight. He's 9,500 FanDuel salary, so I like Jay Crowder here versus the LA Lakers. And on FanDuel, it's really hard to find value plays. They've priced everyone up a little bit because of their performance without Goran Dragic and without Bam Adebayo. These guys that used to be value plays have now been priced up just a little bit. So if you're trying to play Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Jimmy Butler, and then you want to get a couple of value plays in, you're going to land on Alex Caruso from the LA Lakers, who's averaged 14 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 18 minutes per game with a 14% usage rate. But he scored 12, 20, and 22 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 23, 21, and 25 minutes. He's going to be about 12% owned here, but again, I think that ownership is going to be way up because he's really the only cheap option here on FanDuel. He's projected at 20 fantasy points here tonight. He's 7,500 FanDuel salary, so I like Alex Caruso here versus the Miami Heat. And another value play for you, although he's priced up just a little bit, is Kentavious Caldwell-Pope from the LA Lakers, who's averaged 16.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 26 minutes per game with a 15% usage rate. He's going to be about 11% owned here, projected at 22.5 fantasy points here tonight. He scored 25, 23, and 8 fantasy points in the last 3 games, but he's playing heavy minutes here. He played 31, 30, and 26 minutes in the last 3 games. He's projected at 22.5 fantasy points here tonight, and he's 8,500 FanDuel salary. So I like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope here versus the Miami Heat. Okay, and then I like Andre Iguodala from the Miami Heat. He's averaged 16.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 20 minutes per game with a 13% usage rate. He scored 11, 24, and 26 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 25, 25, and 27 minutes. He's projected at 21.5 fantasy points here tonight, and he's also 8,500 FanDuel salary. So I like Andre Iguodala here versus the LA Lakers. And another player I like is Rajon Rondo from the LA Lakers. He's averaged 18.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 21 minutes per game with a 19% usage rate. He's going to be about 12% owned, and he scored 35, 16, and 17 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 26, 24, and 12 minutes. So you can see Rajon Rondo has got some nice upside. He can get you 30 plus fantasy points, and he's projected at 22 fantasy points here tonight. He's 9,000 FanDuel salary, so I like Rajon Rondo here versus the Miami Heat. And another player that's going to get extra minutes because of the injuries to the Miami Heat is Kendrick Nunn from the Miami Heat. He averaged 24.9 fantasy points per game on the season, played an average of 29 minutes per game with a 24% usage rate. He's going to be about 24% owned here. He scored 23 and 27 fantasy points in the last 2 games, playing 29 and 19 minutes. He really wasn't playing until Dragic got injured, so he played 19 minutes 2 games ago, but last game he played 29 minutes, so he is priced up, so you're not getting a discount on him anymore. So he's projected at 22 fantasy points here tonight, but he's another guy that could go off and get you 30 plus fantasy points, but he's 10,000 FanDuel salary. So I like Kendrick Nunn here versus the LA Lakers. If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smickety smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.